Hi everyone, Chantal Curry here, and today I have the fabulous Sally Gray from Real Healthy Kids. Hi Sally.
Hi Chantal, how are
How are
you?
you? Good, and yourself?
I'm very well, thank you, and I'm very pleased to be joining you.
Oh, thank you so much. Before we get to dive into everything gut health, I just want to give you a brief intro to Sally Gray, founder from Real Healthy Kids. Firstly, she's a mum to awesome Jacob. She is a naturopath with over 20 years experience. She's a herbalist, a nutritionist, a certified success principles coach. She's an EFT practitioner, gut healing specialist. She's an author and educator. And have I left anything out?
Well, that sounds fabulous to me.
So do know that we are in absolute awesome hands today. And for me personally, Sally has been an angel who has helped transform the health of my family and is also my professional mentor. So we are in such great hands today. So thank you for taking out the time today to spend with me and talk about one of my favourite subjects, everything about gut health. So I wanted to dive straight into it. And so I know in our journey, healing my little man's gut is what sealed the deal in terms of building immunity. I've taken it from a fussy eater, which I think sometimes he defined what fussy eating is, and and it continues to be a work in process, but it really was game changing for us. And so I would love for you to explain in your expert view of what's the fuss with gut health? Why is it so important?
Well, Chantal, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for that introduction and acknowledge the work that you've done and so many other mums have done as well. And it's often the case that we fail to acknowledge the effort that it takes, because it can be a real challenge to become educated in this new way, because it really is the case that we don't grow up knowing what our health is all about.
No.
And it really has only become popular to talk about the gut. In fact, the gut wasn't even considered an organ 10 years ago, now is considered an organ. And we know that our gut health is central to our experience on this planet in every possible way, not only our physical well-being, but our emotional well-being.
Yeah.
So the reason it's so important is just everything's going on in the gut. We've got the gut microbiome, which is the world of bugs that is more part of this human experience than our human physical cells.
Yeah.
Gut microbiome, in fact, our entire microbiome outnumbers our human cells by 10 to 1, which gives us a clue as to its real significance in our experience. So in the gut, we have nutrients being synthesized. We have digestion happening, and we're only as good as our digestive capacity. So the nutrients, the fuel that we can extract from the food that we eat. We've got more serotonin receptors, which is our capacity to feel good in our brain. It's a neurotransmitter. That is the chemical that gives us the capacity to feel happy. It's the happy chemical. And so just those couple of things alone going on in our gut tells us that it's central to our experience, and yet we are living lives that challenge this environment on a daily basis. Not only from the food that we eat, but now we understand that because there are more nervous system receptors in the gut than elsewhere in the body, potentially, we've got the capacity to be impacting our nervous system, so our energetic world, through our digestive system as well. So the gut is where it's all at. So optimizing that is something we simply cannot ignore if we hope to have great health and happiness going forward.
I know, it's just so incredible how important it is and how it interlinks with everything. So with that in mind, if I think back to my research days, aka Dr. Googling, when I was, trying to strengthen my little man's immune system. And essentially I was looking for what was that one thing, what is it that is going to help me. I tried so many different potions and supplements, etc., but I never really had the link between gut health and the immune system. And so that led me to think that maybe a lot of people actually don't know that their gut needs healing. So what are some of the signs and symptoms for someone to look out to kind of go, oh, okay, maybe I need to heal my gut?
Okay, so that's an interesting question, and I think that just to step it back a bit is to understand what human health is about. You know, what are we on this planet to experience? And I don't think it's struggle, physical or emotional. So I think that that's a question of, well, what are our expectations as humans? Where have we set the bar? Where's the level of health expectation? Because we find that we're all just settling for dis-ease of all kinds, whether that is just the feeling of daily struggle at an emotional level, which I don't know any mum that doesn't feel that at some stage.
Absolutely.
But we also put up with PMS. We have kids who have perhaps chronic snot all the time. We have kids who complain of tummy aches, fatigue, headaches, eczema, asthma. The reality is that anything less than optimal, vibrant health and happiness is a clue that something is out of balance, and the gut is going to be implicated in that, because at a fundamental level there's only a few things that can drive our human health or disease. So by the time we see a symptom, a lot of stuff has gone on before that point.
Absolutely.
So any symptom can be a clue that the gut needs healing. And to neglect that is going to just allow this underlying slow burning cascade of events, which is often known as inflammation, to continue, which is going to and will have predictable consequences down the track, which is not what mums want to hear. But the reality is the only way to set our kids up for long-term health and happiness is to be proactive now and to do the work that's required. So great health is absolutely available to all of us for long life if we choose to do the work now, which is something we can do when we know the tools, and obviously we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So we know that health has predictable outcomes when there's a set of variables in place, and we can create the variables that will predict great health. But that will require, in 99.999% of cases, looking at the gut.
Yeah. Okay. So just about any symptom of any physical disease requires gut healing. Yep. That's awesome and so true. So our chosen method at the time of healing my little boy's gut was the GAPS protocol, or the gut and psychology syndrome. And quite often which is known as a gut healing protocol. And yes, it is quite restrictive, and it's quite a full-on protocol. And quite often I hear that, I can't do that, it's too hard, it's there's no way I could do any of that. So is GAPS the only way that we can heal the gut, or is there anything else that we can do to improve the health of our gut?
There's two things that I just like to talk about to answer that question. And the first one is that our best selves, our greatest health and our greatest happiness is not in our comfort zone for a start. We have to recognise that a little bit of discomfort is going to bring us rewards. And so often we hear it's hard, and I would say, just because it's hard, would that really stop you? If you knew on the other side you could create profound, lasting health for your children. And also, is that the message you want to send to your kids? As soon as something gets hard, do you stop?
Absolutely. Yep.
But to answer the question, is GAPS the only way? And I would say categorically that GAPS isn't the only way. As much as if you were to Dr. Google right here, right now, that the only way you can heal your family is with GAPS. But the thing that I've also seen in my clinic over the years is that there are some families that come to me wanting, ready for, able to step into the effort that is required to do the GAPS protocol. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And then there are other families who are freaking out. And, you know, with a little bit of coaching at a personal growth level, it's still the case that it is a massive stress. And I am not about to say that there is one right approach to fit everyone. That's just ludicrous. There is no one right system of anything for everyone at all. But what I would say is that we need to look at all of the pillars of health. So to think that just embracing a nutrition protocol is going to bring healing is very, very limited in understanding of human health. And I think the key factor that underpins our health and wellness in every way possible is our emotional well-being. Stress is the elephant in the room. So if after some counselling a family still feels stress about embracing a certain protocol, that is going to be more damaging than not changing. Than changing, sorry. So I think that stress is just so profoundly important and is one of those pillars that I talk about. So we need to weigh it all up. So GAPS is fantastic, and I've seen families thrive, but I've never seen a family do GAPS, thrive, and do only that. Because GAPS, like any other nutrition protocol, is still not going to address some of the other key pillars. It still won't address the things that promote healing, and it certainly still doesn't address the obstacles to healing, like emotional well-being, like genetic predispositions, like toxicity, like a chronic infection in the gut. So I've had plenty of families come to me after years of slog doing a nutrition protocol. GAPS would be the most common, and coming to me just about exhausted, out of their wits' end. What do I do? I've been doing this. And I think the message that GAPS is the answer is misleading people and causing heartache, to be perfectly frank.
I get it. It was one of, you know, thankfully I wasn't going to sign up to the 2-year recommendation, but even the amount of time that I did do, it was extremely stressful, and the other pillars of health were by far neglected. And so by the time we sorted out the nutrition, we had to start addressing the other pillars of health because there wasn't that balance. And, you know, for us personally, it was, you know, emotional and mental and health well-being was key to that. And sometimes as a mum, even realising the energetic impact your emotional well-being has on the children has been quite astounding, actually. So it is so true that we do have those fundamental pillars that we need to incorporate when we're looking at healing. So it's not just nutrition, although yes, we have to nail it, but it's definitely not the only pillar that we address.
And look, I'd like to acknowledge also that something that you just said really speaks to the level of courage that it takes to be vulnerable enough to know your own emotional part to play in any health issue that your children are experiencing. I would suggest that every single mum experiencing a health issue with their child has some personal work to do, and that can be really scary. But I know that you've seen the benefit of it, and to begin to talk about this and have this conversation about our own part to play in our emotional well-being just in a family unit, let alone our children's health, is something that rarely gets talked about, but it's real just because we don't talk about it. And
absolutely real.
In many cases, it is the pivotal piece to the puzzle. I've worked with many families who have struggled with chronic health issues with no relief from what they've done. And when I suggest that we work on their emotional well-being to handle the situation in a different light, they start to see changes just from tweaking how they're feeling about their feelings in a situation. And I've seen all sorts of chronic situations resolve just from a focus on the emotional side of things. So there isn't one right answer. There isn't one piece to the puzzle. You've got to be addressing all of these pieces.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. That was so interesting. So that then also brings me on to quite often that I see in my coaching practice is that the leap from where people are today to where they need to be is so huge. And quite often they just can't make the jump from the typical diet today to say something like GAPS or AIP, paleo or paleo, etc. And so they just feel stuck. They don't actually do anything. They don't start, which is a real shame because we're missing, and they know change is needed, but that leap is just way too big. And I always see healing as it's a marathon, it's a journey. It's definitely not a strength, and however long it takes you, that's how long it takes you. But so for those mums out there that do realise that, yep, I need to do some healing, but I'm just not ready to take that leap. What is your number one or your top 3 things that a mum or anyone who needs any gut healing can do to start that process?
Well, I think that the most profoundly valuable place to start is also the place where we're going to see some real commitment to the long-term process, and that is to become clear about what it is that you want to create, what it is you want to achieve. So this is why it's so vital to bring the best of mind, body, medicine together, which is what I make my complete life's mission about. How do we make this work for a family? And it's about getting the mind on the job as well, because the brain is a powerful thing. And when it's given a task, we sometimes don't need to know all of the steps to get there. We just have to be aware and clear and make a commitment to ourselves that we're prepared to learn. And learning is all about mistakes, and I call it failing with grace, because the reality is we don't ever have a guarantee of getting it right when we make any decision. We have to be okay with being flexible, listening to the feedback and adjusting our course as we go. So there isn't a, here you go, this is the menu plan you need to follow to get to the results that you. It doesn't work like that, ever.
Yeah.
So starting with getting clear. Let's get clear about what it is that I want to create for my family, for my children, for myself. Get clear about it and commit to yourself. And I think one of the best things that you can do is to find someone to go on the journey with. Talk about your commitment with a friend and get them on board. Join a community. Know that you can be supported through the ups and downs, because it is highly unlikely that it will be smooth sailing, regardless of what you decide to do. For lots of reasons. And then I don't think it's a matter of, right, here's what we're currently doing. This is where I want to be. That step, as you said, can be just staggeringly enormous and frightening and make you want to turn and run in the opposite direction 100 miles an hour. So to recognize, okay, this is what I now know to be true, and start to put in place the practices. So we're going to do things like, let's clean out the pantry. Let's look at what real food and whole food means. I think that's the starting point. So if you have a need of gut healing, it isn't necessarily that GAPS will get you there. It may well be that just shifting gear from a processed food diet to a real food, whole food approach. I mean, I would tell you that ideally, if you could do GAPS, that would you get there faster and quicker, but it's not for everyone, and it still doesn't mean you won't get results. I've seen families over the last 25 years just change breakfast and recover well. They will be doing other things, of course, like looking at emotional well-being, possibly resolving some toxicities, the gut microbiome, but just to shift to a real food diet is enough. So we've got getting clear and a commitment, hopefully finding an accountability partner and finding a support network, and then putting in place the foundation strategies, which will be cleaning out the pantry, just accumulating some recipes with the support of the family. So if your kids are at a certain age, they might find that they want to be involved in the meal decisions. So you will get better compliance if you bring them along for the journey. So you can make a list of foods that everyone enjoys currently and find ways to maybe tweak them to be healthier.
Yeah.
So it can be a matter of people can do this wherever they are at, however long they've been Dr. Googling nutrition, gut health for. Whether it's just the initial introduction, it can be shocking if it is an initial introduction to hear that how we've been educated about nutrition and our current government food pyramid being as diametrically opposed to human health as it is can be a bit of a shock. Many families are eating Wheat Bix and Nutri-Grain and making sandwiches and eating lots of pasta, thinking they're doing the right thing. Now, that's just not going to be the case for anybody on this planet.
Absolutely.
So it is just baby steps from where you are, starting with getting your brain on the job.
And that is such great news, because quite often in my program, that's the first thing I will start off with. And I'll be like, oh, we need to get into the nutrition. I was like, no, that's next week. We need to be clear on what we are doing and why. So thank you for reinforcing that point. So I know your message, but I would love for you to share with us your message to the world.
How long have we got?
As long as you want, baby.
Okay. I think that the key message I have is that we have within our grasp a profound opportunity to create and live the life that we want to be living. When we have the tools to do that, we can create exceptional inner wellness, which will translate into our outer experience when we start to practice some basic daily strategies. And it starts from the inside out, and it starts in our minds first. And from that space, we can be the role models that our children need, because that is really my message, is to mums who are interested and committed in creating extraordinary health for themselves and their children long term, and exactly how to do that. And that is through using cutting-edge mind-body tools and a plan. And the reason why we want to do this is because the predictions for our children are so dire. Every child living in our Western world is predicted to succumb to and develop a preventable lifestyle disease by the age of 18. And the Australian study that revealed this said, in fact, in our early 20s, we will have 2 preventable chronic illnesses. This was released in August 2015.
Goodness.
And if that's in store for our kids and it's preventable, it's up to us, because disease begins in childhood. So to embrace this work now is really what's powerful. So we can learn, we can become educated, and we can profoundly transform our experience and live with peace, with calm, with confidence. It's just about education and finding the guidance that's required to get there, because unfortunately it's not the message that is portrayed through our medical system or through our education system. But we do have within our grasp the potential to take back complete control, because health outcomes are predictable, as I was saying earlier. So once we put the framework in place, we can predict the outcomes and really just start to live without the burden and stress of disease, physical and emotional.
Absolutely. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for that. So if anyone who would love to get in contact with you, how can they do that? And I'll put that details out in the blog as well.
Well, it's absolutely my pleasure to speak with you, Chantal, and it's been wonderful to watch your journey, and you really are a testament to this work. You've created predictable health outcomes for your children. Now, I'm not suggesting it makes our kids bulletproof or us bulletproof.
Absolutely not.
But you have strategies, you have the awareness, and you know where you can take your family's journey. And so I can be reached at info@realhealthykids.com, Real Healthy Kids Home on Facebook. realhealthykids.com is my website. And there are a number of programs that I run that specifically walk through the exact steps for people to achieve the outcomes that are proven when you follow these steps. And it is absolutely my delight to work with the most inspiring mums who are prepared to step up and do this. and they tell me constantly that they feel like they've won the lotto because they have such profound joy on a daily basis and get to translate that for their children. So it's always my pleasure to chat about this topic.
Oh, thank you so much. And if you don't mind, actually, I would like to give a shout out, which I think your program is going to be running soon, the Ignite.
The Ignite program, yes.
Yes.
27th of April is the week 1 enrolment process.
Okay, great. So any mums out there wishing to be the best self that you can be and get deep and personal, I highly recommend you jump onto Sally's program, because you will not be disappointed at all. So I want to again thank you so much for today, and we will be in touch very soon.
Thank you, Chantal.
Okay, see you then. Bye.